Welcome to MUMBELIEVABLE, the podcast all about our mums, our stepmums, our mother figures. I've got one and I've lost one. My precious neurodiverse mum died 7 years ago, but her legacy of love, chaos and charisma lives on in my bones. And I invite a special guest on every show to talk about their mum, and we swap anecdotes, insights, hopefully learn something new about ourselves in the process. And I'm really excited to welcome DJ, TV, radio presenter, star of the BBC Asian Network, captain of my favourite ever Celebrity Eggheads team, the brilliant Bobby Friction. How are you?
Yay! I'm fine today, actually.
Do you know what? I think I remember you saying once that you were the sort of quintessential mummy's boy. Is that right? Did I get that quote right or wrong?
Yeah, no, you got it right. It wasn't Mummy's Boy. It was when I first joined Radio 1, I used to walk around proudly. I even said this in an interview with The Guardian. Do you know I'm the only Radio 1 DJ who still lives with his mum? But yeah, it was just one of those ones where, I'd meet all these... Essentially, when I joined Radio 1, I got thrown into this maelstrom of we are Radio 1, you are a celebrity, you are the head of music for whatever genre, blah, blah, blah. And I constantly get invites, and I wouldn't invite people home. It's not that my mum wouldn't entertain them. It's just not cool bringing someone home. My mum going, Bobby, who's that? So I'd always say, oh, we can't go back to mine because my mum and dad are there. Anyway, yeah, so... quintessential, not mummy's boy, but quintessential adult living with parents, which now, not 20 years ago, now is actually normal for most people under the age of 40.
Let's hear about your lovely mum. Teiji is her name, isn't it?
That's correct. Teiji, everyone calls her Teiji. Tajinder is her long name. Like a lot of Sikhs, she has a long name and then a nickname. And just a mad story, really. I mean, she came to this country. My dad was here from the early 60s. My dad came when he was 19. He kind of lived through the swinging 60s. I looked through his albums from that era. He had Cream. He knew who Procol Harum were. So he had a very different life. He then went back to India to get married. So my mum only landed on these shores and came to London a year before she had me. So her experience of the UK has almost weirdly been running parallel with mine over all these years.
Wow. So what do you know about her life, her lifestyle before you were born? Because a lot of people go, do you know what? I never think about my parents having a life before me.
So my mum, and this is quite different, especially for a lot of Sikh immigrants. A lot of Sikh immigrants in Britain are from the rural areas of Punjab. They're the son and daughters of farming stock. So they were farmers and they ended up in places like Wolverhampton and, other places like Southall. My mum, on the other hand, was very middle class, or what would be considered middle class in India. She grew up with a family who'd worked with the British before the British left India. Very prim and proper family. Like my grandfather, her dad, I never saw him, in underwear or in casual clothes. He got up in the morning before anyone got up and wore a three-piece suit with a tie, and that's what he wore every single day and this is India, a 40 degrees, heat. Very prim and proper. So from what I know of her life before she had me and before she came here, very middle class, very look, me and my sister used to call her Hyacinth because we felt she was the Punjabi Hyacinth Bouquet. I mean, honestly, what you could do is cancel me and just watch 3 episodes, all right, and replace Hyacinth's clothes with a sari, and that's my mum.
And that's your mum. That's hilarious. So very much conscious of the sort of social surroundings and the niceties in life. And I love the fact you credit her with lots of things, don't you? So you credit her with, I think it was a Facebook post on a Mother's Day post. You say you credit her for her glamour, her empathy, fashion, smiling through the madness. Tell me a little bit more about that. What madness was she smiling through?
I think the madness mostly was having to deal with me, just because she had very, strict guidelines and wants and needs. And her wants and needs after coming to Britain were, that Hyacinth Bouquet thing of like, I'm now here, so now we join the British middle classes, or at least the British Asian middle classes, and I get a doctor. And then my sister's an air hostess, which for my mum is literally the ideal. The way she turns around and goes, obviously not in English, but in Punjabi, she'll go, she works for British Airways. Do you know British Airways? She's cabin crew for British Airways. She flies around the world. She's one of those types of people. And before I joined the BBC, which was a great joy to her, I did give her 20 years of rock and roll, going off the rails, being drunk, putting makeup on, and all that kind of stuff. So she still smiled. That's the whole thing I mean about her smile. Later on in life, I'm now realizing if you get parents who don't smile a lot, just like smiles are infectious, people who don't smile a lot are infectious as well.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
meet a lot of people and I just think, God, why are you bringing your bloody, your dark cloud into this room today? And I've realized later on in life, they're not. They've just grown up in a space where smiling only happens when you're deliriously happy. In our house, smiles happened if you weren't getting slapped, or like you smile because things are okay. You don't smile think because things are funny. So there's
No.
all of that. And can I just mention the glamour as well? I
Yeah.
remember watching Dynasty when I was growing up and seeing Joan Collins and going, that's my mum, that is. Not as in, the bitchy side of
But
her,
with the
but
with
my
the
mum
shoulder
once again,
pads and
shoulder pads, makeup, unlike a lot of South Asian, British Asian women in the 70s, she had short hair, not a pixie cut, but she had short hair down to hair. It was permed. It was in different styles every day of the week. She had a fur coat for a while, which I think my dad probably worked, overworked his knuckles to the bone to buy for her. But that was very different to a lot of other British Asian families. Very much my mum. I want a fur coat. She reminded me of Joan Collins. Some of her aspirational stuff kind of reminded me of Hyacinth Bouquet, but then she was also fiercely in love with her culture as well. So she really gave me a real chance to say, you can be British, you can be proud of Britain, this is your country, you can be in love with the flag, you can be in love with last night of the proms and all the things that make up Britain, but you can also be really proud of your background and you can mix the two together. And that's what she did.
that's fantastic. What a legacy. Did she find it easy to integrate when she came over, do you think? Did she find a new community?
Okay, so this is complicated because first of all, and in this day and age when identity and nationhood and who you are is really important, and all this stuff about closed off communities. When she first came, because my dad himself had been there, for so long, he was quite educated. He had a degree in pure maths from a Sikh university, so he started already getting jobs outside of your usual working class labouring jobs that a lot of South Asian immigrants did. So we ended up in Farnborough and Camberley, which are two towns in Surrey and Hampshire. So we had to mix because for the first like 8, 9, 10 years of my life, we only had white neighbours. So I had that whole situation, and my mum did as well, where we were an island of brownness in a country which was very different in the 1970s, also surrounded by, I wouldn't say working class, but definitely not middle class. Aspirational working classes. I'm going to be very British now. The high working classes, not the middle, the low. All right, it's very
Right,
British of me
okay.
to break it down. So I have no doubt all of those people who we grew up with would now consider themselves middle class. So I remember very clearly going on the school run with my mum and all these people called Gloria and Anne, and her friends were Gloria, Anne, and Carol. And I know she found it hard, but she did mix. And as I say, because of circumstance, because of where we ended up, we didn't end up in the Asian community, and because she considered herself as not so much well-to-do, but wanted to explore the world. I think that she found it hard, but she really tried her hardest. And my story could have been very different. My story could have been like East is East. I've got my English friends at school, but the moment I get home, it's a different world. I did go home to a different world, but my mum would also reach out to, as I said, the Carols and all these women who I also grew up with in the 70s. So I would say I had a very working class British first 10 years of my life because of where we lived and where how my mum was.
Wonderful. So you felt very, just part of everything, just part of both communities and part of the world generally. I mean, I was
Can
sort
I
of,
just add
yeah,
Can I just add
please.
something to that?
Yeah.
These things are really important because you say you felt part of both communities, and I did, but also even now, I feel more comfortable with white working class people than the middle class white people who mostly are in the radio and the TV industry. It's not that I don't like them or imposter syndrome. It's just I don't have to slip into or code switch into a way of being. When I'm around working class white people, I'm myself, and that's because just because of my childhood. I had to grow up with working class white people with drunk dads and women shouting and very clean doorsteps and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not being anthropological about this, but I have a real love for the white working classes of this country. I feel like they're my people.
They're your people, absolutely. I remember you saying once, this is a while ago now, that you said that I know you obviously you love music because that's your whole basis. But you said that sometimes you love music more than you love people.
Yeah.
What? So tell me a little bit about that. So tell me about that because I know you said your mum had great empathy. She was really good at mixing, So did that empathy rub off on you, or did you just get cross with people just generally?
Well, I'm not going to dive into it too much, but I am late diagnosed ADHD, a very 2025 sentence to come out of my
Yeah, a
mouth. So I think,
neurosparky, I think they call it now, don't they? We're neurosparky, you and I. We have tendencies of
yeah,
ADHD, and yeah,
neurospicy was the one I heard last week. That as well, neurosparky spicy. I think that's my trouble, my annoyance with people is probably that. It wasn't some massive annoyance. I wasn't a loner. Secondly, my teens were very different to my childhood. My teens, I was bullied, racist bullied for quite a few years, which turned, it's not an experiment, but which turned my love for it's that real thing of how people go, oh, I don't see color. Well, that was me as well as a brown man. I was like, well, I don't really see it. Whereas I was reminded massively of my color in senior school. To be fair, only one senior school. I was in two. The other one was fine. In this one senior school, the school bully was also a racist and looked at me like a big Cheshire cat with his teeth dripping the moment I joined that school. So, yeah, the teens were very, very different. And that's what that mixed in with the ADHD, I think, made me escape into music. So to answer your question about loving music more than people and people, etc., I think racism mixed in with a bit of ADHD has just made me not wary of people, but not as open as my mum is. And then also the ADHD, and also I do have a very creative brain. Also, one thing I'm just going to mention. Also, my entire family nearly died in an anti-Sikh genocide when I was 13.
what?
We were just visiting. It was literally just bad luck. We were visiting India and went, oh, let's go on holiday. We landed when the Prime Minister of India was assassinated by a Sikh bodyguard, and then a genocide started, and we were caught up in the middle of it. Like we were actually in a house whilst a mob of about 1,000 people tried to break in and murder us and do all sorts of unspeakable horrors. So that mixed in, because that was the same year that I was getting racistly bullied. That with the ADHD, it's only me looking back now. I'm like, oh my God, I totally understand where I'm coming from. So the thing about music is I think the other world that music gives to you when you really don't just listen, when music becomes you, and I think music can do that to anyone on this planet, that other world that you slip into, that was my escape. It was so multicolored, multi-emotional, textured and rich and vibrant. I do feel that when I'm vibrating at my highest level with music, it is better than being a human and dealing with all the shit we have to deal with.
Yeah, and all the people. Oh, goddamn! Wow, what a time in your life when all of that going on. Were you able to talk to your mum openly about things like that? Was she a good listener when you had the bullying at school, things like that going on?
I'm still trying to break this down, so it's a work in progress. Um, I never, ever once went back to my mum and dad and said, I'm getting bullied and it's racist bullying. And I think that's because, not because they wouldn't have reacted in a positive way. I think their way of dealing with Britain wasn't racist for them every day of the week. 9 days out of 10, everything's amazing for everyone well, not amazing, but it's just normal. I think the way they dealt with the racism they may have experienced. I think with my mum, it would have been comments. With my dad, he probably got a lot of racism. They never talked to us about it. I mean, look, this is not me criticizing my mum and dad. I talk about this stuff with my kids all the time, not to make them obsess over it, but for them to know I am an open book and I'm a parent who wants to listen. My mum and dad never talked about it. We've still never talked about it. I
Mm.
don't really see why I should go and talk to them now. So I know what they're going to do. They're going to go, what? No, they're just going to do what parents usually do when they get older, and that is, oh, what are you complaining? Like I just think it will really upset them that I'm coming back like a guy in a TV drama, going, I, dear mum and dad, I had a shit childhood, and I want you to listen. I don't want to do that to them. So we never talked about racism. We never talked about this genocide thing. I mean, we experienced it, but their way of talking about that stuff is, oh, that was horrible, wasn't it? Whereas the way my neurospicy brain thing is, it is, oh my God, I nearly died. I nearly died. What happened? Oh my God, does this mean I'm now, like
Yeah.
I almost feel like they would never have understood my reaction to anything. And there is one thing, even though my mum's full of empathy, my entire family thinks that I'm bonkers and really emotional, which I am. Um, and
Good.
I think they made it very clear, like we can't hack it, and that's it. Different strokes for different folks. That's my family, Sonia.
That's really interesting though, Bobby, because I never thought I was neurodivergent. I always just say to my friends, "Oh, my mum, she's nuts." She was lovely, but as you probably, if you've ever listened to the podcast or read Sonia's Mum, the blog, which was my sort of cathartic way of talking about her, she was very, very embarrassing. But I mean, someone said to me, I think your mum had ADHD," and I was like, "Well, she was never diagnosed. She was 80
Yeah,
when she was diagnosed with various other things, not that." And it was, and I thought, nah. And they say, "You're amazing. You're so normal by comparison. So normal. How did you grow up to be so normal?" And I'm thinking, I don't like normal. I don't think I am
yeah.
normal. I really don't. And I say, "Oh, you should." "Well, I can't concentrate on anything for longer than I've got a new creative thought in my head. I'm off. I'm doing it." My husband will say, "Wouldn't it be nice one day if?" I go, "No, no, no, no more ifs. Let's do it. Let's book it. Let's book it." And then he'll say later on, he'll say, "Did you book that thing?" I go, "What thing?"
That's
And
you just described my life with my
I've
kids.
nailed it, yeah.
Yeah,
And a friend of mine said, "Yeah, I think you might have traits of your mum, all the right traits, which are lucky." I don't sort of, sadly, I don't have my own children. I've always wanted them, but it never happened for me. But I don't leave my children in strangers' cars or push them in front of brides at weddings or turn up to school with food I haven't eaten, which is all the stuff that my mum used to do. Bless her heart, she was wonderful. But I suppose my mum was an absolute free spirit. She was sort of mentally free. She didn't have any boundaries. And to the point where, as I say, I made a joke of it earlier when she sort of escaped the family. She did say that to me. I was about 6, I think. She said, "Oh, I need to escape this family." And I said, "Oh, right, okay," thinking, "Oh, you're another one of mum's things, scary or whatever." And then the next thing, I knew she'd knocked on the door and she said, "Bye-bye," and she walked off down the road with a suitcase.
crazy.
And me and my mum, me and my brother watched her go. We thought, she's joking. No, that was it. And that was fine. It all worked out okay. My stepmom came in and everything was fine. And but she had that. extraordinary freedom. She didn't have any boundaries at all. And you say your mum was mentally free as well, didn't you? Were they they should have been friends, me and your mum and my mum. I think they would have got on really, really well. What
Yeah,
was
definitely.
what was it you said? You said she's mentally free like a warrior queen.
Yeah, I mean, look, is she mentally free from some stuff? No, and that's where the Hyacinth Bouquet comparisons come in. I
Yeah.
do feel sometimes she's not mentally free from society's expectations of her. And also, this is a very South Asian thing, and I know it's everyone will go, "Oh, we do that here as well." But you know that whole, and I think this comes from collectivist cultures once they end up in the West. You know, that whole thing of, oh, what are people going to say? So my mum isn't the one who broke the what are people going to say. She does and has her entire life worry too much about what people are going to say. When I came home with loads of makeup on and, my nose pierced and my ears pierced, her first thought was, what are people going to say? Not even, is it aesthetically good or bad, or does she
Right.
accept it? But the reason I say she's a warrior queen is because I think, like a lot of women, especially women who are housewives and who've accepted that as their role, she has a steely warrior strength within that role. And that steely strength, I think, because she's not going out to work and is not battling, with a metaphorical sword through what happens out there when you're at work, her strength vibrates at an even higher level. So what that means is when I get into an argument with her, with me and my dad, if I get into an argument, it's over. I mean, it's bloody. We just, someone wins or someone loses, or we both go shut up, and then we start talking again the next day. With my mum, she'll stretch it out to 7 years if she has to. So that's what
seven
I mean
years.
about warrior's strength, because that's her domain. She's the queen of that domain. Won't be tied. I don't care if your son. Why are you messing with me in my palace? She's like that, and also she has a very she's has a very developed social circle.
Right.
So there's always other women popping into our house, coming around for tea. They come around, they got walking sticks, they're complaining about their legs, they're complaining about their husbands. And my mum kind of holds court. And also to big her up, when a lot of back in the 80s and late 70s, there was a few things which you didn't really deal with, like divorced women were to be not
Hmm.
shunned,
Hmm.
but to, oh, that's a woman maybe of ill repute and all that stuff. All my mum's mates, that one's a divorcee, that one's run away with a circus, a lion tamer from a circus. And all these women, these different types, jigsaw pieces of women are always around here. So in that respect, I still see her as a warrior queen, because even though she worries about what people are going to say in terms of her house, her position, what her son and daughter are doing, she's also got that great empathy of these other women who come here and it's a safe space for them.
How wonderful. So she's like a magnet, isn't she? And a sort of, I'm thinking of your mum now as a sort of maypole, she's the solid one in the middle, but she's also got these lovely coloured ribbons flying around
Yeah.
and sort of going in the breeze, but she's there solid. She's the one holding it all together. She sounds fab. I love the fact that she's downstairs and she'll have a right old shock when she hears this go out, won't she? Oh, bless her heart. You've got a little thing to wait for. When it's lovely to talk about sort of things that your mum did, behaviour, habits that she had. Do you see anything that you do now that have come from your mum in your parenting style, for example? Do you see comparisons? Or...
Like all parents, you try and escape the clutch of what you saw in your parents, and you want to just take on the good stuff. But actually, no one ever gets to decide. You just find yourself when your kids are 13, and my kids are 13 at the moment, and you suddenly go, "Oh God, I'm like my dad in that respect, and I'm like my mum in that respect." What you want is not what you get. You get what you're dealt with. So on that level, I do see a lot of myself in my mum. I am very science and fact based. My mum isn't. She's all emotion. All right. So when with my kids, stuff goes to a certain level, the great dad with all this knowledge stops, and I turn into a shrieking banshee. And not a shrieking banshee as in out of control and scary, just like, all bark, no bite. And my
Right.
kids know that. And I got that from my mum, but my mum actually had the bite as well. Secondly, I do the one thing I really hated about my mum, didn't hate it about her was, the whole thing of I was wearing makeup. My mum would just constantly go, "You look like this kind of person. What are people going to say? I didn't want this for you." That's me now with my kids. When they do stuff that I don't like, I find myself literally going, "Why are you doing that?" No, I've used this so many times. I didn't want my son or daughter to do this, which is exactly the same as what my mum. Like my son at the moment keeps. This is another discussion for another time, but he's very much in that sphere of influence, like via TikTok and stories. So he's always pushing back against me. Is Hitler really that bad? It's not. Isn't Nigel Farage? They say here Nigel Farage is the kind of guy you'd want to go to a pub with. Are you going to vote for him? Like he's in that world. And I often find myself saying to him, "No, just shut up. No son of mine's going to be like this."
Oh,
So
there's your
I
mum
am,
talking.
yeah, exactly. So I am turning into my mum.
How would
I'm
you
afraid.
feel if they came home with makeup and ears pierced and tattoos? And...
Well, once again, I would have said to you 20 years ago, I don't care. But now it's actually on a case by case basis. Makeup, fine. Earrings, fine. Tattoos, not fine. And this is where the hyacinth bouquet is growing within me. Everyone's got them now. And I just think it's a bit common.
He is
Like,
common.
you
Yes.
go to the doctors, your female doctor's got tattoos all up her legs. You go to the bloody newsagent, there's tattoos on the lady's face. You go to the bloody pub and the barman's, and I'm literally like, because I haven't got a tattoo now, and that's because my mum just went, "You're never getting a tattoo."
So
And
you thought, oh, yes, mum.
somehow I listened to her, but now that I've not got a tattoo, I'm trying to explain to them it's really cool to not have tattoos. So the inner hyacinth is growing at the moment.
I love that. The inner side and heart. Yeah, I think we should get you a nice little twin set and pearls. Oh, you look like you're wearing pearls actually there. You've got
Yeah, I am.
a super pearl necklace. So, was there anything that you think that you wished your mum could have had when she was younger? Because I used to think about this with my mum. I thought, I wish she had somebody that she could have confided in a bit who understood her better. Because everywhere my mum went, especially when I was there, everyone just looked puzzled and confused all the time because she did confuse people. I mean, she was lovely, but she was very confusing. And I thought, I wish she'd have had somebody then. That would have been good. If I could turn back the clock, what would I have wished for my mum? Yeah, someone who understood her, and probably not to have been married to my dad. And that's not in a, it was just that she just couldn't cope with anything that was formal. So the formality of being married and having children was a nice thought, but with her, as we probably know now, ADHD brain, the next day she thought, oh, hang on, why did I do that? So, what,
Yeah.
anything you think of with your mum? You think is if you could turn back the clock, do you think there was anything she could have done with?
Um, so honestly, number one is she's still with my dad. My dad's downstairs, he's in his mid-80s. And he's a lovely guy and she's a lovely mum. And they argue a lot at the moment, but from what I can see from my friends, that's what happens to people when they get into their 80s. They argue loads, but it's not hate, it's just, come
Yeah,
on, we've spent 70 years together and
yeah.
you really bloody annoy me. So I wouldn't say anything in terms of her not being with my dad, but I do think that for all the love she's given, and as I say, our house, the door's always open. There's always someone new sitting there, get literally offloading onto her because I think she's just really good at listening and dealing with their problems. I do feel that, like in terms of my family's economic vibes, she would have loved it if we had not loads of money, but like proper stockbroker belt Surrey money, you know?
Hyacinth
And
bouquet money.
yeah, and not because she would then go out and buy stuff or lord it over people. She's not that kind of person. I just think that everything that makes her happy is great, but the one thing that really makes her happy is someone saying, "Oh, you got a lovely house. Look at your chinaware. It's amazing. She's always changing the glasses and the cutlery in the house and all that kind of stuff. So I just think that finance wise, it makes making her sound really, shallow. I don't mean she needs more money and she'll be happier. I just think all the good she's done and how amazing she is right now, she would have loved to have had a background of really big living rooms and a really nice garden to do it in.
And a kitchen with an island.
Yes, they don't have an island. My mum and dad don't have an island in the house. And yeah, I can see her looking at other people's islands jealously.
Going, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got a two up, two down little mini house, and my kitchen, you can touch every surface in a square. And I'm thinking, oh, an island would be. Someone said to me, "Would you like an island in your kitchen?" I went, "Yeah, I would, but there'd be absolutely no room to walk anywhere." To me, the island is the ultimate. Oh, it's been fab. So we come to a section in the show where I do this mini mums survey. It's just a few questions. Just going to throw at you, just a fun couple of questions. So if someone was to play your lovely mum, Teji, who would play her in a movie of her life, do you think?
All right. This is going to sound really horrible, but I don't mean it. I mean it with the greatest amount of love. And as a creative, I'm bending the question a bit. So my first thought was Joan Collins,
Yeah.
just because of, glamour. As I said, it's a bit different now. She's in her 80s, but every day, when she was going through her 20s and 30s, the first 20 years of my life, she had the lipstick, the eyeshadow, the eyebrows plucked. She had everything perfectly done. So, is it Kathy Bates? Is she
From Misery?
from Misery? But
Yeah.
look, just stay with me on this one.
I'm going to say, your mum better not come upstairs right now.
Break my legs with a hammer. The thing, the thing I like about Kathy Bates is, so my mum's she's not a larger lady, but she's definitely not a pixie, all right?
Okay.
And the thing with Kathy Bates is if you take Misery out of it, but there's elements of Misery in the sense that she's really strong, and my mum's really strong. You don't go in to mess with my mum at all. No one does, all right? Because she will come for you. And then I just imagine, as I say, not the character in Misery, but the actress uh, with elements of Misery, but loads of lovely makeup on, and also middle class. And if I mention that, and then I also mention Patricia Routledge, who played Hyacinth Bouquet, can you kind of see the type of woman I'm talking about? Slightly
Definitely.
larger than life as a person, slightly larger physically. You don't want to mess with them, but also a bit of glamour. So Kathy Bates with makeup on and Hyacinth Bouquet, but Asian.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. Right. Okay. I'll get my casting hat back on again. And a silly thing, apart from like, I don't know, Father Christmas, Tooth Fairy, things like that. Did your mum ever sort of cast the wool, pull the wool over your eyes? Or did she ever tell you little fibs? Is there anything like that when you were little? You go, oh, mum, I now know that wasn't true.
Well, all of that stuff, the Father Christmas stuff. Also, I'm agnostic now, and she's quite religious, but I would never ever. Because she never forced Sikhism down my throat. She was always very nice, like, "Oh, I'm Sikh, and this is what we do, and that's you now as well." But she did lie at the drop of the hat to win an argument.
Oh, did
All
she?
right?
Give me
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
example. Give me an
So, so,
example.
so not like, oh, how high do planes fly, and then we start arguing. That's not the kind of argument I'll have with my mum. It would be the kind of stuff, once again, as a teenager, I'm wearing makeup. She's like, oh my God, men don't wear makeup. You must be gay. What the hell's wrong with you? Oh my God, what will people think? And then I would say something along the lines of, oh, men do wear makeup. Here's all the pop stars who wear makeup. And also men wearing makeup historically. And by this time, she's already zoning out. Like, shut up, historically. What are you going on about? And so then she'd turn around and go, no, 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 no. That's like in those arguments, if she's gonna lose it to fact-based arguments, she'll lie through her teeth. Because as far as she's concerned, I'm the mum, I'm right, shut up.
Shut up. Yes, yes. They're like, oh, shut up. Yes, yes. Now, my mum never, my mum used to just tell me hugely tall stories that I used to take into real life and then get laughed at because they were so ridiculous. Oh
I
dear.
love that though.
It's so funny. Like I've told this one before, but I'll tell you this. You'll find this very funny. I spoke a couple of months ago. I told this one, but so forgive me for repeating my story. I was always very confused by size and how people grew. I must have been very young. You had no concept of growth when you were about 3 or 4 years old, and people are always just the size you know them, you know. And I used to look at big people and think, oh, I knew where babies came from and how they came out, put it that way. And I used to think, oh dear, that poor woman's mother, you know, especially if it was a large woman. And I said, I said to my mum, I said, oh, so why are people so big? You know, next thought on ADHD brain, obviously. Next thought, forget about the birth canal. Now let's think about the actual reason they're so huge. She said, well, there's two reasons. They're either expecting a baby or they eat too many chips. Right. So I thought, okay, so I got baby or chips. Okay, fine. So then we were on a bus, and I remember this so clearly. And this huge woman got on, and I just said, excuse me, are you expecting a baby? And she said, no, I'm not. I went, oh, then you must eat too many chips then. And I remember the bus all just hysterically laughing, which made me realise that humour was a great way to dissipate the craziness of my mum. So then I
Yes.
started to become a bit of a comedian. And but then also I realised that you can't trust grown-ups because they
No.
tell you things like that, and then it makes you look really stupid in front of everybody else. Oh dear, oh dear. But say the next question is, and she'll probably have lots to say when she hears this podcast. But if is there anything you haven't ever said to your mum that you think, oh, I kind of want to say that, or I might get round to that one day? Or is there anything you haven't told her?
Oh God. Well, I'm not going to tell. If I'm not telling her, I'm not telling any of you lot my deepest, darkest secrets. No, I'm only joking. I think I think I've done a lot of this recently, and I need to retire it. And that is, I've been telling her about herself, which I never used to do.
Right.
And the reason I've been doing it recently is because I'm just in that. It's this is me. This is me being self-centered now. I'm in my 50s. I've got to this point now where, as I say, when I want to tell people about themselves, I don't want to sit them down and make them feel really bad. I want to just say, oh, just so you know, A, B, C, and D, because I've got to this age now, and I just go, look at all the like 20% of people literally live in a dream world. They have no idea how they come across. They have no idea what's going on. They're not listening to the other person. They're not even picking up on stuff, all right? So I've been doing a lot of that. And I've wanted to do that with my mum, and I've started doing it, and it's not been going that well. So I think I'm going to stop it now
Oh,
because to be fair, I'm it's more about me. I'm doing it where I just kind of think, oh my God, mum, you're so smart, but you've really not done this. You know, it could be this part of your personality you've not thought. Look, it's sticky stuff, isn't it?
mm,
Telling your mum,
mm,
who definitely is your mum, who lives in a world where she's your mum and therefore you can shut up. And I
mm.
get that. I know lots of mums like that. Telling them about themselves. And I've done it a lot recently and it's not worked. So I'll give you an example. Um, my mum tends to, if we're having an argument or even a debate or even a conversation, she'll talk to me, I'll start talking to her, then she'll just start talking back to me halfway through my sentence. So I've started going, I really need to finish my sentence. And it's the ADHD thing as well. It's like, don't interrupt me, my brain's gonna. And then you know what I've realized this happens a lot. And I said to her, you talk over me and I need you. And it didn't go down that well. And the reason it didn't is because I think when you get to that age and your child is telling you about your core components,
How
it
do you?
probably hurts.
Yes, you're a child. You're still my child, you know.
Yeah.
You're
And I
still
don't
little
think
Bobby.
she's not doing that from a bad place. And I'm not like, oh, I need this to happen. We all need to be truthful to, I'm chilled. I'm cool. I get it. You're my mum. I'm your son. I've got kids now. I get it. So, in answer to your question, I've been doing it a bit recently and it's not worked that well. So I no.
She's gonna park that.
Yeah.
How was she when you kind of took on a stage name? Because or is that not anything you really talk about with your mum? Because
No,
like,
well, I was going to say she was just really cool. She got it. It's easier, I think, because in those days that was a DJ name. So stage names are different because you're basically saying I am me, but I'm not really me. And you can imagine mums or dads going, "Oh my God, you're throwing away the legacy of who we are as people." Whereas DJs mostly, especially in the 90s, DJ Bonkers, DJ Dickhead, I don't know. So Bobby Friction, I've always been called Bobby, and the friction just came because someone nicknamed me Friction at university. So it just came, and it all happened really last minute. I got offered my first gig, and the promoter phoned up and said, "I'm getting the flyers printed. What's your DJ name?" And I went, "Oh," and then it stuck because I did really well after that first gig. So yeah,
That's fantastic. She must be immensely proud of you.
I I know she's immensely proud because I can see her entire face smile. She smiles out of every pore when I have a success. Um, she even more so smiles even harder when she gets to tell someone else about it. Do you know what Bobby's doing now? Etc. 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 And along the way, she's had a few little, brushes with what I do. So when I was DJing, when I first started DJing, she made we made a little cottage industry for her because basically the club we were in lost its caterers and they went, "It's an Asian club night. Do you know anyone?" I went, "My mum can cook." My mum, I mean, this is another podcast, is the most unbelievable cook. It's not just me saying it, everyone says it about her.
She's a wonderful cook, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
yeah, because
I
mine
mean,
was
unbelievable.
unbelievably awful. But that's
I
another
know this.
podcast.
I know this from listening to quite a few of the other episodes. You're always ready to throw your mum into the bad cook tent, right? Or even worse than the bad cook tent, the a complete inability to cook tent. But anyway, that's fine because that's your mum. So my mum made money, and she actually was making a couple of £100 a week for nearly a year. So she loved that, and she was really proud that I was doing this thing, and also then including her in it. And then also back in the 90s, there was a few little documentaries on me, and news reports, so they followed me around. And they followed me and my mum going through a record store in Southall. So she's always kind of been part of the journey. She's much more someone I'd bring on camera than my dad. So she's always been proud. But I can see it in her face. It makes me joyful to tell her about my successes.
How lovely is that? It's wonderful. I found it very difficult to tell my mum anything really too personal because she'd just react in the wrong way. Bless her. She did it all for the right reasons. Like
Yeah.
I eventually said, "Oh, I'm going to go start work for the BBC." Oh no, I've said the BBC. Anyway, it was fine, and I was working up at Broadcasting House. It was a clerk typist training course to get in, and then I was sort of taking people around to various places and went to Television Centre, and I said, "Oh, can I bring a guest in?" They said, "Oh yes, what's your name?" And I said, "Sonia Beldam," and this woman looked and she went, "Oh, hang on." I thought, "Oh no, what's happened?" She said, "This is you, isn't it?" And there was a picture of me on A4, a picture of me, and it said, "This is my daughter. She's come to work for the BBC. Look after her."
Oh, I
Isn't that
love that.
sweet? And she'd probably taken it to all the big centres, I would imagine. Television, I wasn't at Television Centre, but she'd gone there. She'd obviously gone to Broadcasting House. I knew that for a fact. And also, she went to the building that you probably used to work in, Egton House, which was the old Radio 1 HQ, wasn't it? Egton House?
Yalding House is where I ended up in the
Yalding
end.
House. Yalding House. So she went to all the small houses, all the buildings all around to say, "This is my daughter. This is her name. Please look after her." Isn't that sweet? Like I was sort of Paddington Bear, but
Sonia, more than sweet. That was her love language. I
yeah,
think that's really deep and really beautiful.
yeah. She was an amazing person, and it's that lovely understanding. When I mean, talking to you has been a real eye opener for me because, as well, I'm thinking I wasn't too keen on talking about myself being neuro, spicy, sparky, whatever. I haven't been diagnosed officially, but I so want to be now, just to see if it's true. And knowing that my mum had all these health conditions, she was. I mean, I always knew she was, off the scale, difficult. But once you understand it, and there's a sort of couple of labels for it, you go, "Oh, now I see." So you put
Yeah.
a whole different context on it. We had a brilliant relationship for the last 10 years of her life. It was fantastic. We communicated And we were super, super friends. And before that, it was a little bit kind of, well, tetchy, like, Mum, for God's sake, can't you see how embarrassing that is? And I look back and think, well, of course, no, she couldn't.
Yeah.
Simply, she couldn't. It wasn't her
No.
fault. She wasn't trying to be difficult. She just couldn't. So it's been fabulous. So your mum, your lovely mum, tell me why she's a mum-believable. Why is your mum mum-believable?
My mum is unbelievable because without her even trying, she shaped who I am today. Like all mums, she tried to shape me one way, but it wasn't the words, it was her actions that actually shaped me. She was a glamorous Amazonian Indian Bollywood goddess to my young eyes. And she also was always full of empathy and made sure our house was open to everybody. And even though I've not done exactly the same thing, I've taken those lessons and they've become part of my DNA. And last but not least, and I don't want to say this and make anyone feel bad, no matter how she's treated me, there's not one single moment in my entire life I haven't been aware of just how much she loves me. And that in this day and age, with so much going on in the world, is all you need as a foundation to succeed. And by success, I just mean live, be content. So she set me up in the best way possible, and I love her for it.
I love her as well. I wish she could come upstairs and you could put her on camera and we could have a surprise. You go, hello, you never guess what I'm doing.
My mum wouldn't, because my mum would want to get dressed up for it, and that would have taken 2 hours.
Oh,
There's
no.
no way she's going to come on camera if she's not fully dressed for that
Fully
particular
made up
occasion.
with a twin set and pearls with the hair. Oh, lovely. Oh, Bobby, it's been a real joy. Thank you so much. It's been a real eye opener. It's been a lovely insight into you and your background and why you're the fabulous person you are today. It's been great. I could talk to you for hours. I'm going to have to let you go. Thank you so much.
Thanks loads, Sonia. It was wonderful speaking to you. So let's do it again without cameras, without recording stuff. Let's do it over drinks, because the other thing I like doing is having a raucous good time. That's everything I grew up with. My mum dancing around the house. That also helped.
That sounds fabulous. That sounds like a great idea. So don't forget, folks, listen to all the different episodes. We've got loads of fabulous episodes. This has been Bobby Friction's episode here on Unbelievable. Love us, follow us, tell all your friends. We'll be back again in another couple of weeks with another fabulous episode.